Dr. James JC Cooley. That's right. Dr. James JC Cooley. That's right.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guest will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 9 p.m. right here on The Answer San Diego.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on The Answer.
Yeah. Dr. James JC Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life. Yeah.
Hello, welcome to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. I'm your host, Dr. James J.C. Cooley, and wow, we're still celebrating Black History Month. We're going to be celebrating Black History Month's achievements of, folks that came before us and achievements or folks that are doing it now. They're still keeping up the history, still making history. We got a guest on today. I missed it, brother. I ain't seen him in a while. But, wow, he's going to come and he's going to share his journey and share a lot of other great things. And I tell you what, you don't want to miss this show. You don't want to grab you about 7-8 bags of popcorn. And I tell you, whichever platform that you're watching us on, whether it's E360 Television, Transfer TV, YouTube, LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Rumble, and AM 660 The Answer, AM 1170 The Answer, AM 660 The Answer out of Dallas, AM 1170 The Answer out of San Diego. Welcome to the show. You want to be part, just go to the comments on the platform that you're watching us on. Ask any question that you might have. And I promise you we'll get you an answer. How you doing, Dr. Cooley? How you doing?
I'm doing good, Yes, continuing to celebrate Black History Month with these amazing guests. And we're excited to have this returning guest on the show. It's been a while, but he's got a lot of knowledge and things to talk about, which educates and inspires our audience.
And plus, he's a great man, a great man. And I tell you what, Michelle, can you do the honors by introducing the title of the show, the purpose of the show, and introduce this absolutely fantastic guest?
Oh, most definitely. So the title of today's show, audience, is called Remembering the Journey. And we're welcoming back Dr. Pearl Pierce. He is a pastor. He's a military veteran. He is an entrepreneur. He is a faith leader and so much more. He's going to talk about topics from Black history. He's going to talk about the Jim Crow laws, the civil rights movement, how far we have come, and what would the leaders of old think about our situation as people today. He is powerful, driven, bold, compassionate. If one were to describe the character of Dr. Pierce, these words plus so many more would not do him justice. He comes from Bedford-Stuyvesant, an urban section of Brooklyn, New York. He is a man after God's own heart. He's a dedicated servant, teacher, and lover of the Word of God. You know, by the grace of God, Dr. Pierce has been married to First Lady Toni Pierce for over 30 years. They share the legacy of 2 daughters and 1 son. And you know what? He has been pastoring Kingdom Life Church Worldwide Ministries in Decatur, Georgia. And, you know, he's got so much to share with us. Please welcome back Dr. Pastor Pearl Pierce.
Hey, it's an honor as always to be on you all's show, and I'm just grateful that you all thought enough of me to ask me to be on your show, especially in particular, even though we call this Black History Month, when we know that every day truly is Black history. You know, we'll go ahead and celebrate the month, but we're going to celebrate it every day in reality.
You're right, Pastor. Every day should be Black History Month. Should be. I mean, I don't know how it just would carve out 1 month and we call that Black History. We have to celebrate every day. We got to celebrate.
Yes.
Been a long time, brother. Been a long time.
Yes,
And
a lot has gone on. A lot has transpired in the last 9 months. You know, I had to take care of some medical issues that were kind of scary, but Big Papa always, you know, he sees me through. You know, I evidently I just thank God for His favor, His grace, and His mercy that I'm still here, JC, to talk to you and Michelle, and
Wow.
I'm grateful.
And we're so happy. You know, you always are in our prayers. You and the family.
Thank you.
All the time. You know, so Pastor, can you tell our viewers and listeners that might have missed the last couple of shows that you're on a little bit about you, where you grew up, what made you click, why you're so passionate about the things that you do?
Well, you know, my roots start actually in a place called Wilmington, North Carolina, but I grew up in Brooklyn and Bed-Stuy. And, you know, we grew up poor. You know, I remember the days when we would have to wait in those long lines to get our government issued food. And, you know, people would laugh at us and joke at us, you know, because they could hear those, especially during the summer months, you know, they could hear those silver and gold cans jingling and everything. But it might be their parents who wanted some of that some of that cheese. And I just, as I began to grow and you know, mature in my life, the one thing that I wanted to do was make sure that if there was ever a need for people, that I would be there. Because I even remembered my mom having to give me a note or a letter to take to someone saying, because she borrowed $10 to pay the light bill. And I said, you know what? You know, I didn't know about Christ and all that, but I knew in my heart, I wanted to help serve people, be there for people. Because a lot of times people say they got your back, but when those hard times come, JC, they're nowhere to be found. And it's just that when you grow up in an inner city poor area, you really understand what it is to be poor, even if you grew up in a rural area. But there were like certain terminologies that I used to hear people say, well, you know, you hear somebody say, that's so ghetto, right? And I would say, hold up, if you've not grown up in the ghetto, you don't need to be saying that, because there's good people that come from the ghetto. And I just wanted to just get to the point where I could be a better me and serve people, be there for people who were really in need, no matter who they were. And as time progressed and I became a pastor, I still kept that mentality, because a lot of times people would think you only supposed to serve people that are in the congregation. I don't roll like that. Whoever you may be, if there's a need, I'm going to be there for you. Be it, you know, somebody who's homeless or hungry, or someone who's incarcerated, because I do a great deal a prison ministry down here in the state of Georgia also. But I just believe in that adjective servantly. I want to be a servant. That's really the bottom line. Just being the servant that God has ordained me to be, because that's why Christ came to do what? To serve, not be served.
Wow. You just hit it on the nose, because I grew up in the project area and all that, and the terminologies that you just talked about. People look down on us. They say, you ain't gonna amount to nothing. You're not gonna do anything because you're here. But one of the things I always tell people, Pastor, is your current situation is not your final destination.
Amen.
Now, we can all learn from our past and learn from what we are in, the situation that we're in. But we have to keep moving.
We have to, Jesse. Like you said, we can use our past to help us where we're going. But I also remind people, because a lot of times people want to bring up the negativity of your past. And that's why I always tell people when that happens, don't ever allow your past negativities to poison your future, because your future looks much better than your today could ever look. And you just got to keep striving. Yes, it will take some work. Yes, it'll take perseverance, some self-control, some discipline. But guess what? Don't you dare let that past poison your future.
Absolutely. And that's why, what we're talking about today, a couple of topics. We're talking about Black history. You brought it up that every day should be Black history. Can you tell our viewers and our listeners why it's so important that they understand that?
You think about it. One of the things that's happening right now, a lot of young brothers and sisters don't know where they come from. Even when it comes to, I'm going to use even Christianity. They don't even know that the Bible, most of the Bible is written in places like Africa, etc. They were Black folks. And what we've got to do, even when it comes to those who don't even know the word, we've got to make sure that they understand who did what, who invented these stoplights, who did these things, that it was imperative that we as people were involved with these things. Because without us, man, this country wouldn't be the way that it is. We built this country. You go to the White House. Who built the White House? So we have to make sure that we teach our children to be proud of who they are and to remind them we are the only people that was brought to this country in chains. And if we can make it all the way from Africa on those raggedy boats to here in this country, we've got to be some powerful people. We got to stop acting pitiful and understand that God created us to be powerful.
Created us to be powerful, and we had to step up to the plate. There's so many of our ancestors have sacrificed everything to make sure that where we are today and where we can continue to grow, that opportunity is there. And a lot of our young folks, they don't understand anything. They don't really know what the Jim Crow laws or any of that stuff is, because they don't look at the history. They just looking at the now. Can you talk about that? We got 2 minutes.
Well, the travesty of it is that because I want you to think about something. A lot of the parents have gotten younger. So the younger the parents have gotten, the less knowledge that they're able to obtain or maintain or give to someone else. So therefore, they don't know, they can't teach their children. And that's why it's imperative that they understand, listen, you couldn't live where you live at today if somebody else hadn't lived there prior to you, who got their windows busted or had a cross burnt in their yard. You couldn't go to the schools that you go to today if somebody hadn't sacrificed their life so you can go to those schools. And I think the travesty of it is that the system tries to tell us, don't worry about that. Forget about all that. No, you need to know where you come from, because then you'll know where you're going. And you will not allow history to repeat itself if you know where you come from.
You have to know where you come from. Otherwise, I believe you're lost and you're going in completely different directions every time the wind blows.
Yes,
now, we're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We're going to talk about that. We got a lot more that we're going to talk about. And if you want to be part of this conversation, 84 platforms, all you have to do is just go to the comments, ask any question that you might have. I promise you, we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
Dr. James, JC, Cooley. The James Cooley Show. It's your life.
A black man Man's Point of View is the newest Amazon.com #1 release and bestseller book from author Dr. James J.C. Cooley, featuring the perspective from 11 other contributing authors. In A Black Man's Point of View, Dr. James Cooley unpacks his thoughts and personal experiences about the challenges, stereotypes, and feelings of self-worth that many black men face today due to a 400-year ancestry rooted in slavery and colonization. Yet, how so many black men move forward despite this history. Most importantly, A Black Man's Point of View conveys that all men, regardless of race, creed, or color, are capable of love, respect, and dignity. Described as a map to a greater life from the heart of a man who's experienced life's misfortune and harsh conditions, James shows us how beliefs, convictions, and a healthy mentality can help propel a life worth living. A must-read for all. Order your copy of A Black Man's Point of View by author Dr. James J.C. Cooley today from Amazon.com or wherever books are sold.
Really get a chance to know who you are. And once you know who you are, you truly know who you are, love who you are. Love who you are. You're a masterpiece. Love who you are. Love who you were born to be. Love me some me. That's what I'm talking about. When you leave high school, you gotta know today or tomorrow, or hopefully today, what your plans are. Hopefully, there is no bad decision unless there is no plan. Create, collaborate, commit with confidence. Commit with what? Commit with what? In everything that you do.
The James Cooley Show. It's your life. That's right.
Welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and I'm sitting here just enjoying the conversation with my great friend, Dr. Pastor Pearl Pierce. And I tell you, he's educating us on some of the things that I'm talking about. Young adults, older adults, communities that need to know. Just like he mentioned, if you don't know where you came from, you're never going to know the direction that you're going, because, you have to understand that there was many of our ancestors that laid the path for us, and for us to be better, for us to understand, for us to be educated, not just academically, but in life in general. Yes. And what we're going to talk about now, some of the things that shaped the way that we see things from a political, from a community perspective. We're talking about the Jim Crow laws that shaped the outcome, especially in the 19th and 20th century. Pastor, can you talk about that a little bit?
Well, when we think about Jim Crow, I think one of the first things we think about is was it Plessy versus Ferguson back in 1896, which really brought about the Jim Crow, laws and everything, which really were all about us. And one of the things that happened at that appointed time was that, guess what? That's when the separate but equal thing came into play. And we all know that there was nothing ever separate but equal. And those Jim Crow laws were to intimidate us about voting, where we live, trying to progress in our lives. But through the grace of God, years later, of course, some things happened that I'll talk about a little later that happened to kind of got rid of, to ridden us of the Jim Crow. But you think about all that everyone had to go through that period, going through the back door, feeling less than, the whole shebang, really feeling less than a man, if the truth be told, and if you even thought about trying to do anything that was out of the ordinary because of the Jim Crow laws, which were really laws against Black people, people like Medgar Evers lost their lives in front of their families, because of the Jim Crow laws trying to get individuals to vote. One of the mothers at our church is from Selma, Alabama. And of course, she was there, she didn't participate on that Bloody Sunday, but she knew individuals that had participated on Bloody Sunday. Stuff like that we need to always remember, because they were fighting against what? Jim Crow laws and the right to do what? To vote. So in essence, Jim Crow, which if you really equate it was who? Us, was to be less than anybody else. But you said something in one of your commercials about us being a masterpiece. One of the scriptures in the Bible in Ephesians 2:10 says that we are the masterpiece of God. When you can remember that you are a masterpiece, you won't let anybody make you feel less than. You'll always feel what? Greater than, because guess what? Big Daddy, Big Papa created you to be greater than, not less than.
And that's why it's important, I believe, that to understand God. This we love the Lord, Michelle and I, and I'm sure a lot of folks. I mean, my mother, my grandmother, everybody I was brought up to love, and for them to teach me that you are not less than. Yeah, might go through some trials and tribulations, but you have to stand up and believe in what you believe. Hold your head up. Don't hold your head down. Just like our forefathers from when they were placed on the boats and they couldn't hold their head up and do anything, otherwise they get punished.
Yes.
That's how I believe and see that the Jim Crow laws was. It was to put fear in individuals so that they feel that, hey, you don't belong here. You don't need to be voting. You don't need to do none of these things because you're less than.
Yes.
And we need to make sure that our youth and young adults and communities understand that they are a masterpiece.
Yes.
That they do have purpose.
Yes.
That they cannot let anyone push them and keep them down, regardless of the situation. I know the current situation today, and I said I don't have a problem with this. Is a lot of things been rolled back over the last month, civil rights, DEI, all of this stuff, and I feel that it's reverting back to what it's supposed to be. Now I'm gonna turn that over to you.
JC, it's quite interesting that you say what you said, how the things that we're seeing that seem like they're going back.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the Emancipation Proclamation, right?
Yes.
And we talk about Abe Lincoln, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we remember when Abe Lincoln got killed. Well,
Yes.
I think many people forget that I think the president after him was Andrew Johnson.
Yes.
But all the things that Lincoln was trying to put in place to bring about equality between the Caucasian and the black man, Andrew Johnson came back and knocked it all out the way.
Mm-hmm.
And if the truth be told, we see history doing what? Repeating itself the same exact way when it comes to this gentleman. I'm not going to say this person who's in place today, because exactly what he's doing is exactly what Andrew Johnson did. Because it was right off that Reconstruction period. Slavery ended. You had the Reconstruction. You had blacks who were non-political officers, etc. But you always had somebody who was going to instigate something to say, how dare they think they're better than we are? Let's again knock them down on their knees. But the good thing about when you knock somebody on your knees who just believes in themselves, they do what? They get up. And there's a gentleman that I love so much, JC, from over in Alabama, Dr. Fred Shuttleworth is his name. We talk a lot about Dr. King, but I was watching some years ago a documentary on Dr. Fred Shuttleworth, and he had daughters, and he wasn't a big man in stature, but these men beat him, and they thought he was dead. This little man got up, went back to his car, and drove off. But people like Dr. Fred Shuttleworth and people like that, we need to remember these people that were beaten down, but still fought no matter what. Houses blown up, but still what? Fought no matter what. And that's why we, as a people, must understand that if we just stand together, there's nothing that we can't conquer. But from slavery on, we've always been taught to do what? Cut each other's throat. I'm gonna even go this. I'm gonna say something that I don't know I'm gonna get in trouble for or not. But you think about all the derogatory names that were used against other ethnic groups, right? Right? You don't hear those names at all anymore. but you hear that one that we were called. Think about that. Because their parents taught them, how dare you let anybody call you that name? And they purged that out of their system. But we fought to get that word put on the radio. Something's wrong with that picture. But again, it goes back to us understanding, man, that we got to wake up. We must wake up and stand together and lift each other up. Because when you really think about it, during those Jim Crow era, do you know there were more black businesses than there are now? People were working together because there was a common cause. We got to remember there must be a common cause today. JC, let me be quiet for a
No. Hey, what you just said is no. You ain't gonna get in trouble for nothing like that. It's true, and funny you mentioned that. We fought hard to get it put on the radio until through rap groups and all that type of stuff. I mean, it's crazy, and even today, many people still think that's okay. I'm talking about us. Yes. I mean, it's like, hey, I had some folks that say, hey, you this and that. I said, no. You can't, no. I can't even be around you talking that way.
And you know what? It's interesting. We're talking about Black History Month. We're talking about that word, but I hear even us, the women, calling each other, "Hey B, how you doing?" First of all, let me tell you something. None of my friends, we don't do that.
Amen.
And I am not that. So why would you? It's not a term of endearment. I don't care what you try to do.
Belittlement.
When you try to change it, it's not a term of endearment. So we're doing it to each other.
Yes. And that's the travesty of it. And you know what the travesty of it is that everyone else around the world looks at us and go, see, that's why they're worth nothing. You know, and they put us at the bottom of. I'm gonna tell you a story. Some years ago, one of the kids that I ministered to was playing basketball over in Italy, and had me come over. And one of the things that I didn't know that happens was, you know, you had the African brothers who would do the art during the day, but at night, you know what happened? The ladies would work as prostitutes. Yes, and the young man who I was over there with, they saw his wife and thought his wife was, but of course, when they saw him, they knew the deal. And I'm saying to myself, God, it's amazing how, you know, people can think that we're these negative individuals when guess what? We were the first people to even be created per se, you know, and it's just a travesty, but it all starts with us. And again, it all starts with the mature, older individuals saying, no, we're not going to have that. Because I remember my grandfather, when he would come to New York to visit, and someone would say something like that, he would say, listen, don't say it again. And if you said it again, you in trouble. Siri, he didn't play about it. And I don't play about it. I never have. My daughters would tell you, you can say anything, but you're not going to use that word around me. Anybody who knows me will know that that's a word that I don't play with. But again, I say this, and it's just the truth. Every other ethnic group that had a derogatory name used against them, you never hear it anymore. Just us.
And I don't know why that is.
And what it's going to take for us to understand that when we're belittling ourselves, and you're right, the world look at us like, and then everybody feel that they can say it because it's like Sister said, a word of endearment. You know, like, whoa, what do you not know men were hung in the square in Indianapolis and the word was written across their bodies in blood? Do you not know that? Please, how can that be a word of endearment? How can we even begin to think that would be a word of endearment when people were hung on trees? And check this out. People would bring their families to watch us be hung and the word be written on us in blood, across us in blood. How? That's why I don't understand why, you know, I know as a kid growing up in New York, and I'm sure, Michelle, we learned Black history. Mm-hmm. You know, matter of fact, I remember very, very well, trying to learn some Swahili and everything else.
But my wife is from down in South Georgia, a place called Camilla, and I was talking to her, and she was telling me, no, it wasn't even taught. It wasn't taught in school, And but it was one of those things that, the dashikis and everything made you be proud. I'm a dark-skinned individual, right? But I tell you what, when James Brown made that song, "Say It Loud, I'm Black and I'm Proud," when they would do, man, yeah, I'm black, but we've got to be proud to be black and know that there's a divine purpose for us. But we must learn how to love on each other first. Right now, one of the major things in our communities is everybody wants to be a gangster and fail to realize that God never created you to be a gangster, but he wants you to own some businesses. He wants you to be a professor. He wants you to do great things. But yet we let the world dictate, now you're just going to be this. Because here in the state of Georgia right now, if you all can see how many young men are killing each other in prison, and they look just like each other. They look like us.
Wow. Hey, hold that thought, because we got to take a station break. But we're going to come back. We got so much more that we're going to talk about. And I tell you, you want to be part of the conversation, just go to the platform that you're watching this on. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break.
It's the James Cooley Show. It's your life. Dr. James J.C. Cooley. Yeah. Come on.
Noah Dingley here, producer of The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And the new audio version of James' book, Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet, is a must-have. James shares his true life story of struggle and success in America. It's both a cautionary tale and a roadmap to achieving the American dream. Get the new audio version of Country Boy, City Boy, A Journey That Ain't Over Yet by James Cooley on Amazon.com or wherever audiobooks are sold.
The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, can be heard every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth. Life is full of circles, cycles, phases, and stages. It's your choice to ignore them or embrace them. Motivational speaker, author, military veteran, and founder of the J.C. Cooley Foundation, James Cooley, and his guests will inspire and equip you to strive for your own greatness and overcome adversities. Listen to The James Cooley Show, It's Your Life, every Sunday at 6 p.m. right here on 660 AM The Answer in Dallas-Fort Worth.
Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show, It's Your Life. And I tell you, we were remembering the journey, that's the title of the show today. And we got my great, great friend, Dr. Pastor Pearl Pierce here. And I tell you, it's I'm learning so much, and I know that you all are as well. We're talking about Black History Month. Just like I said, we shouldn't even call it that. We need to remember Black history as every day, because history is being made every day. And it's going to require you to understand that you can go out there and continue to make history, Black history, history as a whole. But you got to want to. You got to go out there and do something. And first of all, I think that some of the things that we need to do is stop putting ourselves down, stop putting our people down, stop putting everybody by calling ourselves certain names and thinking that's okay. And just, well, in the hood and all that. I love the hood. I grew up in the hood. But sometimes we might want to get out the hood and to get a job, get educated. Just go out there and do something that's going to help you grow and help you learn. So I want to pick it up back with that, Dr. Pierce. We're talking about the civil rights movement. Just like I mentioned earlier, a lot of the things that been rolled back as a month ago, things that Lyndon Johnson had placed with the Civil Rights Acts and all of those type of things. How do we recover from that? What can we do to get our mindset where we don't want to just go out and go road and be hating, nothing like that, but work together, stick together to try to bring these things together where we still know that we are a big part of what's happening in the country, and we can continue to try to do the best that we can, even though things have been taken away from us.
JC, there's a scripture that I love so much. It's over in the book of Corinthians, but it states something like this: we got to capture thoughts before thoughts capture us. Because if I start allowing negative thoughts to capture me, I won't do what I'm supposed to do. You see, so I'm going to make sure that, okay, I know things are changing, etc. But guess what? I'm going to still maintain a certain type of mentality, because I know, guess what? These years might be rough, but guess what? We're going to get through these years, and we're going to do it and one of the models of where our pastor at is working together works. We just got to work together as a people and say, listen, if we work together, there's nothing too hard for us. We can overcome anything as long as we what? Work together, and not allow the negativity to fill our minds, where we finally get to a point where we say stuff like, well, there's nothing I can do. No, there's always stuff you can do. There's always stuff you can do. You can continuously feed your young brothers and sisters. You can continuously, like you said earlier, work to make your communities better, getting prepared for what's going to happen in the future, because what we see today is not going to always be there forever.
Wow. There's conversations about Black identity, how we identify ourselves. I mean, this world is growing as far as a lot of biracial, children, which, love is love is love. Children are a gift from God. Now, one thing about, and we discussed this with a guest on our show yesterday, is about how we treat ourselves. There have been comments from a lot of, whether it's celebrities or people we may know, who disrespect Black women themselves. I'll give you an example. Oh, I can't deal with a sister because Black women are demanding, they're controlling and stuff like that. I'd rather, date, outside my race because of, I can't deal with a sister or a Black woman. To me, that is degrading Black women. My thing is this, Dr. Pierce, you love whoever you want to love. I just have a problem when someone's signaling out their own race and their own women and saying there's something wrong with us. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
Personally speaking, I always go back and say, what'd your mother look like? And you talk about how great your mother was, how powerful she was, how she helped you to get where you're going. So guess what? I think a lot of times when you hear certain Black men say that, it's because they're afraid of a bold Black woman. Mm-hmm. Somebody that's going to walk beside them through in and everything. Because I want somebody that can identify with me. You understand? Because she will know what it is to struggle. Or even if she doesn't know what it is to struggle, she will know that, hey, my Black brother Brothers have gone through so much. I'm going to stand here with this brother no matter what. And I just, I'm always intrigued when I hear a brother say, well, she's this sister just too. I'm like, hey, brother, that's what you need to help you get where you're going. You just want somebody to put a pacifier in your mouth. And that ain't going to work after a while, because after a while, you're going to need a real powerful woman who's going to take the pacifier out your mouth and say, let's do this to get this thing together. You know, so I've always been in the mindset, and it's just me. I want me a strong Black woman, period.
You know, sometimes I think that some people just want a Stepford wife. Yes, no, don't question anything. Okay. Oh, and there are people out there like that in any race, but I'm like, okay, good for you. But I'm not the one, and neither are my friends. We're not Stepford. We have a mind, we are intelligent, and we have thoughts. And this goes to this next question about promoting entrepreneurship among the Black community, shopping in Black businesses. There was, when their DEI was removed, there was, and I'm not going to name the stores because I'm not going to do that, but there were boycotts and, text messages and, emails. Hey, we need to boycott this business and take our business away from them. They're not supporting DEI, blah, 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 blah. Without naming the businesses, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I think about back in the day, what did we do? The Woolworths and everything, huh? We boycotted them, didn't we? And all of a sudden they came back to their senses. And I think what happens right now, we've gotten so complacent that we give into anything, and we're lazy sometimes also. Well, that particular store, one of those particular stores right up the corner. Well, guess what? If they're not servicing your community and they're promoting individuals who mean you no good, why would you spend your money with them? Period. It makes no sense for you giving your dollars to them when you know that those dollars are never going to come back to your communities. Point blank. It goes back to the days of, when I think it's over, it was in Greensboro, I think, when Woolworth was North Carolina A&T students sat in at Woolworth, etc. It comes a point in time we got to say, listen, we bring value. And if you don't value yourself, something's wrong with that. It's just like Montgomery with the bus boycott. We generate a heck of a lot of revenue. And I think sometimes we tend to forget that because either we're lazy, we don't want to go a couple of extra additional miles to go to a store that supports us or whatever the case may be. But it comes a point in time where you got to stand up for what's right and for your people.
I totally agree with you. I know Michelle, she was trying to be kind, but I think we need to. If you support us and all of a sudden somebody says something, you say, oh, I'm not going to support them anymore. We don't need to support them because we bring a whole lot of value. We spend a whole lot of money in the Targets and the Walmarts and all of these stores that are pulling back from the DEI initiative because someone feel that, hey, the world is being prejudiced against us because they are picked. They're in a quota situation when we are just as qualified, just as educated to do the jobs and all of these things, but the world is not fair. So that's why a lot of these civil rights issues and movements that came in 64, 65, and now everything is being rolled back, and the stores and companies that believe in all of that, now they don't believe in it anymore, and which is going to hurt our chances for employment, not because we're not qualified. It's just because, someone has an idea and they said, hey, no, we're going to get rid of everything because they are against us.
Think about it, JC. It's almost, if you really think about this thing, it goes back to 1896 again, Plessy versus Ferguson.
Mhm.
You know, separate but equal, right? Trying to say that everybody's playing on an equal field. And we know that that is a bold-faced lie. So that's really when they want to take away the DI. That's really what it's trying to say now. Oh, everybody's on an equal field. We know that that is so far from the truth, because when you look at the corporate structures of the major corporations, you look and see who's sitting at the top of those corporations. People will hire those who are familiar with them, who look like them. Do you hear me? That's just the reality of it. So when you take away those programs, you take away opportunities for others. Trying to say that everybody's on an equal field, that is so far-fetched. Again, it goes back to 1896, separate but equal, and we know that's malarkey.
It is. And, you know, we got brothers out there like Roland Martin that tell the truth.
Yes.
That try to educate us. I mean, and I know we got about 30 seconds before the break, but try to educate and us, especially young black men who
Yes.
voted. They voted against the Democratic Party because they were thinking that they were going to get a stimulus check, that this guy going to do all this other type of stuff. And now their eyes are wide open because it wasn't what they thought. They should have thought it out. Tell you what, we're going to take a station break, but we're going to come back. We're going to pick it up. I love this man right here. And I tell you, man, he tells you how it is. And I do too. If you want to be part of this conversation, all you have to do is just go to the platform that you're watching us on. Ask any question that you might have. I promise you we'll get you an answer. It's your life, and we'll see you shortly after the break. Hello, I'm Dr. James J.C. Cooley from the United States of America, and I am here to just say, first of all, I'm so happy and honored to be on it, to be in the Coffee Book 2023, Unified Brain Z and the other organizations. Thank you so much for giving me an opportunity to be a part of this collection. Hello, welcome back to the James Cooley Show. It's your life, and wow, we still remembering the journey, and we also putting out that, you know, we starting a new journey, but we all have to be strong. We all have to work together. We all have to believe in ourselves. We all have to understand that we have purpose, regardless of the current situation. That's not your final destination. We have to work together. We have to understand. Just like Pastor mentioned earlier about, in order to understand thoughts, you have to put yourself in an environment where you're not just reacting. You're thinking about the things that you are going to do. Think about things that's going to make things better. Think about things that if you don't have any control over, you step back and you just turn it over to, he called it Big Papa. You turn it over to Big Papa. Big Papa is going to lead you in the right direction if you're doing the right things. So I want to pick it up with that, Pastor.
Well, the bottom line is just here. No matter, my wife has a saying that I love. She said, God still sits on the throne. You understand? So he's all powerful. He's all knowing. Now, we don't understand sometimes why he allows certain things to happen, but I tell you this, he's still what? In control. And if he's in control and we call ourselves his children, we need to let him have control of our minds and our hearts, that we don't do anything that's contrary to what he would have us to do. Because guess what? When it's all said and done, we will have victory. And that's just point blank. But we've got to make sure that during this phase while this individual is in office, that we don't allow our minds to feel as though we're conquered. You understand? I always tell people, don't play the role of a victim. It's time that you understand that you're to be victorious, even when you're going through an in-between season, because this is nothing more than what? An in-between season. And when it's all said and done, when we get to the end of this season, we will be victorious and be back on the top where God has ordained us to be at.
Funny you mention that is because sometimes we fall off. At least I did. I can tell you my story, where believing in the Lord, just everything. Now all of a sudden, the Lord granted everything that I asked him to do. And it was so good. And so I started thinking I knew more than him. Lord said, okay, you told me that you need this and you asked for this and that's and that. I'm giving you this. He said, hey, brother, slow down. It's time for you to do my work. And I thought, God, I get back to that one. Let me go and make a little bit more of this and that. Now, all of a sudden, when you fall all the way off and you just totally ignore God, God got a way of getting your attention.
Real quick.
He knock you down, put you through trials and tribulations. He tests your, whether you still know who is at or sitting on the chair.
Yes, sir.
And you know what? That's what I'm telling the folks right now is, even though the situation might be bad, don't turn away from God.
Yes.
God is in control. He knows what he's doing. And he will guide you and lead you in the right directions. Even though you might experience some illness or this or that or whatever that is, stress, don't let stress take over, because if you don't have control of something, don't throw your hands up. Just continue to worship God and he will guide you in the right direction. I'm going to turn that back over to you, Pastor.
Well, the bottom line is this is something that we also have to understand is that Big Papa already knew who was going to be in office already. And anytime he allows some certain things, individuals to be in office at a specific time, it's really to get our attention to turn back to him. Because a lot of times we get a little wild, we start doing everything and anything, and all of a sudden something happens or somebody gets in a position that catches our attention. We go, oh, Lord. And what do? We start looking more toward him for help instead of even relying on our resources. Because you know how sometimes you can be making money up amongst money, and all of a sudden that money becomes your God. And God is saying, hold up, you know what? The money is big in your life has become bigger than me. So I got to do something that's going to get your attention. And guess what? He has done something that has gotten many of people's attention now, because something you said earlier, how many black men thought they were going to get these checks. And all of a sudden now they realize there is no what? There is no check. The truth of the matter is this man was already telling you what he was going to do anyway. If you really think about it, he had already told you what he was going to do. But I guess a lot of folks didn't believe it and said, we're going to vote for him anyway. And now that you have voted for him, you're like, oh, my Lord. Oh, my Lord. And I'm sure God is saying, now you're going to say, oh, my Lord. You should have been saying, oh, my Lord, earlier. But, the bottom line, JC, is this here. God is truly in control. And we've got to trust him. Those that are believers, we have to encourage those who are not believers to understand that God is in control and that they must trust God, not themselves, nor an individual.
And you're absolutely right. And you have to trust God. And a lot of people believe in man. They believe in man. They trust man.
Yeah.
They trust. He said he no. You know, you said something a few minutes ago, and I tell you, it hit me hard when I had pulled away. Any decision, major decisions that we make, we had to confide in the Lord. Michelle not confide. Now, I mean, a lot of things gonna be coming your way, money, this and all that other type of stuff. If it ain't right, it ain't. I mean, I don't want it. I mean, I like how the Lord has us right now. So bribes and all of this other type of stuff, and continue to trust in God and continue to maintain your faith, and that it's going to get better. I mean, a lot of people walk around with their head down. Oh, well, I voted for him, and I wish I wouldn't. Well, I don't know what to say about that. You got Okadoke. You gotta figure out a way to adjust to yourself. What are your thoughts on that?
I think about a lot of people who, as you said, got the yoki doke. And I think about back in history per se, when we were under those Jim Crow laws, when it was what it was and everything. But something that I think a lot of folks forget is that a lot of young people were involved in a lot of that civil rights movement. Mm-hmm. We always kind of look at the Dr. Kings and the more mature individuals. Mm-hmm. But when you look at SNCC and even the Rainbow Push Code, back in the day, like I said, when you had the counter sit-ins in Greensboro, at North Carolina A&T, even up at Fisk University up there in Nashville, those were young kids. Even when you go to Bloody Sunday. And I'm saying all that to say this, is that the more mature individuals should never knock the young people to the curve, because they in the past and can still do great things. Things that I'm not going to say things that some of us can't do. You understand? And I think a lot of times, we talk about, like I said, the Dr. Kings, the Abernathys, et cetera, the Medgar Evers, but we forget that it was a lot of college students that were involved. When you think about those marchers, I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was studying his master's in chemistry. He was at Fisk University, and Dr. King would use him to train the SNCC kids on how to handle when people would throw stuff on you, call you all kind of names. I wish I could think of it. Marion Barry was his name. Barry was his name. And, so I want us to make sure that we always understand our young people and their involvement in the civil rights movement, because it was imperative that their young legs were out there. When you think about the marches that were going on from Montgomery, when they were going to Birmingham, it was a lot of young folks involved with that. That's why I get sort of irritated when I hear people always ridiculing and criticizing all young people. You see,
we can't do that. We down to the last minute of the show.
I'm sorry.
You know what? You are invited on my show anytime you want to come on. I mean, you already know that. Because it's always an education. So, Pastor, I like to thank you for taking the time to come on the show again. Michelle is going to send you another invite for March and April. I mean, if your schedule permits, we'd love to have you back on. I'd like to thank Dr. Michelle Cooley for putting together another absolutely fantastic show. I'd like to thank our producers in San Diego and in Dallas, AM 660, The Answer in Dallas, AM 1170, Answer in San Diego. Most importantly, I'd like to thank our viewers and listeners for tuning into the James Cooley Show Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Always dream big, think big, and be big at everything you do. We'll be back tomorrow. Same time.
Love you guys.
It's your life. We love you too.